Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
I got some good news and I got some bad news, full-time family. And you know how we do it. We're starting off with the bad news so we can end the video on a positive note. Because who wants to leave on a shitty note, right? Like, oh, fuck that video. You know what I'm saying? No, but the bad news is Iaquinta is out of his main event with Justin Gaethje, and the reasons honestly are unfortunate. It's not even like an injury. It's kind of just an Iaquinta thing. You know, he's not the easiest guy to work with. He hasn't been in the past, and it's because he's not as dependent on the UFC. Iaquinta is a guy that's got his real estate gig going. He doesn't seem like a guy that really, you know, is really struggling for a meal outside of the UFC. And so when you're not a guy that really has to fight to live, you kind of have leverage, you know. So that's a good thing for Iaquinta, but kind of a bad thing for the UFC and fight fans, because then when you get fights like this, if Iaquinta doesn't like something in the contract, he might say, I'm out of here, and go do his podcast. He's even starting to do a podcast now. Y'all better watch out. Y'all better watch out. Iaquinta's gonna be retiring before you know it. He's got the real estate and the podcast going. He's about to say, fuck a fight, dog. What are you talking about? It's just gonna get worse with his podcast growing. So the UFC might have to nip this in the bud sooner rather than later, because we know how the UFC rolls. Yair Rodriguez found that out real quick when he called fake news on the boss. Got cut, bada boom, bada bang. Yeah, he got re-signed, but still, we saw how the UFC was rolling. Dana White said he wasn't playing any more shit. He's been a little riled up lately, as you know, as far as he's kind of fired up. He's kind of fired up. And so with that being said, Iaquinta, this fight was announced. The fans wanted a fight the fans were getting excited for, and I believe Iaquinta even called Justin Gaethje out on his podcast in the first place. You know what I'm saying? What if Iaquinta, bro, and this is fucking tinfoil shit. I don't even think Iaquinta's doing all of this. I'm sure he's smart enough, but I'm just saying, I'm sure he's not. But like, he called out Justin Gaethje on his podcast. And what if he was just doing that to like build promo for his podcast? Justin Gaethje alluded to that. He was like, I don't know why this dude's calling me out. He probably just talking shit, you know, to build his podcast. But hey, I'm in. Maybe Iaquinta didn't expect Justin Gaethje to say yes, you know, because Justin Gaethje, he's a wrecking ball for anybody in the lightweight division. Even if you win the fight, you're coming out with some damage to your legs, some damage to your body, some damage to your head. You're taking damage, win or lose against Justin Gaethje. He's a wrecking ball. So, you know, and it's interesting, you know, guys that go up against the UFC, not even go up against the UFC, but if you're just not super cooperative with the UFC, you might be getting a fight with Justin Gaethje. That's what I'm saying. No, but maybe Iaquinta didn't expect Justin Gaethje to say yes, but he did. The fight was eventually booked. Iaquinta had some demands. It looked like it wasn't going to happen. You know, it looked like the UFC might not reach his demands at first, because I believe Dana and Justin came out and said, no, Iaquinta's out of the fight. Then about a week later, the fight was together. Maybe the UFC said, all right, we'll give it to you, Al. I don't understand what the fuck's going on, because Dana White did talk about this. He said Iaquinta thinks if he fights a higher ranked fighter, he should like get paid more every time and stuff like that, when you're supposed to honor your contract. But Iaquinta's guys was like, yeah, I know we got contracts, but I got another job, so if you want me to fight for you, you probably want to do what I say. And it's like, whoa, usually that's not how it goes in the UFC. Iaquinta is no Conor McGregor, but he kind of plays that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He speaks out, he renegotiates his contracts. He's pulled out of a fight now, a main event. The UFC can't be too happy about this. We'll see what happens with Iaquinta, but at the same time, I'm sure Bellator would love to have Iaquinta. But either way, I'll keep you guys updated on that situation. The good news is James Vick has stepped in. We got another lightweight, and he's only ranked one spot under Iaquinta, so it's not too bad for Justin Gaethje. It's not like he's got to fight an unranked guy now that Iaquinta stepped out, or it's not like we got an unranked guy stepping into the headliner. Yeah, it's not a former UFC title challenger, Iaquinta, but it's still motherfucking James Vick, who's 9-1 in his last 10 fights, and he's been begging for a big name, a big fight, and now he's got one in Justin Gaethje. And I'm sure if you could put your name in a hat or pick names out of a hat, out of all the guys in the top 10 you probably want to fight right now, it's probably not Justin Gaethje. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a fun fight, but he's riding like a 2-fight losing streak, and he's a fucking wrecking ball. But hey, you know how it goes. When you want that opportunity, you got to get it. When you've been begging for one of these opportunities, you got to jump in there. And so James Vick is jumping in there now with Justin Gaethje, and we'll see what he does with this opportunity, but it's still going to be a great fight. Not as many casual fans are probably going to tune in now because James Vick isn't the guy that just fought Khabib, you know. I'm sure that would have been big, you know, that momentum coming into this fight. Iaquinta coming off the title fight, you know, UFC 223 main event versus Khabib. Now that's not a part of the show, you know, a part of the UFC linking, because Iaquinta's out, and that was a big deal. But still, as a hardcore fan, I'm all the way into this fight, and I'm sure the card's still, as a hardcore fan, I love all these cards. But after UFC 225, who knows what the fuck the casuals think? Fuck those guys. But either way, man, I love this fight. Sucks Iaquinta's out. That would have been a great fight as well. I would have loved to see how Iaquinta did versus Justin Gaethje. But speaking on this subject, Justin Gaethje's manager did speak out, and he said, I can't question Al's heart, but at the end of the day, when you fight Justin, people have to think about it. I got nothing against Al, but it's a tall order to fight Justin. When you go in there, you leave a piece of yourself in the cage, and some people don't want to do that. If I'm a fighter, I don't want to fight that guy. I don't know if this is a negotiation tactic from Al, but he is out. Now, you guys can let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think Iaquinta's kind of ducking the fade or ducking the wrecking ball that is Justin Gaethje? You know, you think maybe Iaquinta bit off a little more than he could chew on his podcast? Didn't realize that speaking on his podcast, yeah, you know, Justin Gaethje fight might be fun, might get into the ethos. UFC might call you and say, hey, you say something about a Justin Gaethje fight? Yeah, let's do it. And then you're out like, yeah, but I need like more money though. If I'm fighting Gaethje, he's ranked higher than me. I need some more money. And they're like, come on, Al. All right, we'll give you some more money. All right, I'll sign the contract. And now he's like, man, I don't know the situation. I don't think Al re-upped the deal. But Iaquinta did come out and say that it's not him that's pulling out of the fight. He said it's not me, it's them. He's saying it's the UFC, and I don't know if he's saying in them. I don't think he's accusing Justin Gaethje, because I don't see how Justin Gaethje could have anything. He's not pulling out of the fight. So whenever he's saying it's not me, it's them, maybe he's talking about the UFC. You know, maybe he's saying the UFC doesn't want to pay him more now or something. Either way, Iaquinta is out of the fight with a very tough guy, Justin Gaethje. And so it might leave you to assume, man, maybe he doesn't want to fight that wrecking ball right now. Who knows? Maybe it's just business. You know how that goes with Iaquinta. He's a guy, part of Project Spearhead, I believe. He speaks out against the UFC's power sometimes. So if he feels some type of way, he's definitely willing to sit on his ass and do his podcast or go sell some real estate. And now for me as a fan, I don't like that. You know, for me, it's one thing when you are making a business decision because you're trying to do what's best to feed your family. But for Iaquinta, I don't get that feeling. I feel like he's kind of good as far as money's concerned, or he wouldn't be acting like this, for one, if he wasn't doing decent on real estate. I think Iaquinta, he's not a guy, you know, that like got into, in my mind, that got into it like Nate Diaz, you know, or Jorge Masvidal, like, you know, coming from nothing, trying to put food on their plates type deal. And so he's kind of just doing it like a smart businessman, you know, in a sense. So it's kind of like, I get what he's doing, but at the same time, it sucks because we're losing a big fight. But we did have Ariel Helwani's reveal, though. I mean, that now that Iaquinta's out, you know, the UFC did have, before James Vick was in, they had to find an opponent for Justin Gaethje. And so they offered the fight to Kevin Lee, sources say. However, Lee declined the opportunity because he wanted more time to train for his next fight. Lee is hoping to return to action later this year. So Kevin Lee didn't want to take the fight against the wrecking ball on super short notice. He's coming off that win over Edson Barboza, Kevin Lee is. But with that being said, didn't want to take a fight versus the fucking wrecking ball Justin Gaethje on short notice. But you know how that goes, man. Sometimes when you get that call, sometimes, you know, you got to step up. That would have been a great fight. I don't blame Kevin Lee, though. I mean, and that's just me. I wouldn't want to fight Justin Gaethje on short notice. And this is a situation you have to look at it like when Jorge Masvidal wasn't really amped to fight Kamaru Usman, you know, or Darren Till. It's like, I'm riding a 2-fight losing streak. It's probably just not the best fight for me in my career right now. Whether, you know, if I lose to Usman, I'm on a 3-fight losing streak, and he's not the biggest name. But now that he's ranked top 5, hell yeah, I'll fight him. Fuck yeah, I wanna get that fight. I want to fight for the top 5 spot. You know, it didn't make sense then. Now it makes sense. That could be a deal like with Kevin Lee. Like right now, I'm just coming off of a win over Barboza, and you're coming off of 2 losses. So I'm trying to propel myself. And so maybe if you get a win here, maybe then we can talk. But as of right now, Kevin Lee's not interested in a short notice fight against Justin Gaethje. One guy that did throw his name in the hat, I believe, is David Tamor. But that one didn't materialize. But what did materialize is James Vick. James Vick said the punching bag Justin Gaethje don't want these problems, and the fight actually materialized. So looks like he does want these problems. It says Vick's been clamoring for a big fight. Now he's got one. Originally slated to fight Paul Felder at UFC Boise on the 14th. He will now prepare for his first UFC main event. Unfortunately for Felder, this will be his 2nd fallout in a row. Felder was supposed to fight actually Iaquinta, none other than Iaquinta, at UFC 223, but his Iaquinta got called up to the main event, so Paul Felder lost his fight. Now Paul Felder's supposed to fight James Vick, but James Vick gets called up to this main event to replace Iaquinta, and Paul Felder's left without a fight again. But he is going to be stepping into his own short notice fight, and it's going to be a great one. We're going to talk about that on the next video, so make sure you check that out. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments about Iaquinta being out and James Vick being in the main event of UFC Lincoln against Justin Gaethje. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to become a full-time MMA blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, or black belt, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/fulltimemma. I'm out.
Bye, Felicia.